Yes, you have seen Midnight Express, right on. Okay. So I went to my local government office, and apparently, without any convictions, without any warnings, no police presence, none of that, apparently I'm such a danger I need to go to a secret room. And this room is all plexiglassed and thick, and it's just safety for them. Because I'm dangerous or something, as you can tell. And I'm in this discussion with this guy for about 20 minutes, and it's a serious discussion, don't get me wrong. But we're both jovial, we both speak the same language, we both communicate very well with each other. And at the end of it, I get up, he gets up, we'll say goodbye, but because these giant, I'm not kidding, glass about that fucking thick, much thicker than my fucking hand, and there's 3 pieces of it between me and him. Fucking nuts. Because I'm dangerous, remember that. And I usually, a cordial man I am, is I would shake the hand of the person I've just had a cordial conversation with and things have gone respect. And I'm like, shit. And I put my hand out to shake. And as I did that, I did it on purpose, kind of, just to kind of show that I would put the effort across, but we're not allowed. And as I did that, he wanted to do the same thing, but instead, he put his hand on the glass. And when he put his hand on the glass, bear in mind, I'm stoned when I'm at these meetings. They don't probably know that. But the first thing that went through my head, I went, Billy! And I pulled my jacket off it and I went, Billy! And I laughed. I was like, I'm kidding, mate. I'm kidding. It's not sexual. I promise. It's not sexual. And I laughed. But he put his hand on and I was like, Billy! You can get out soon. I love that story. I've been wanting to tell that story for about a week. It's been killing me to have it all in. If he didn't put his hand on the glass, that wouldn't have crossed my mind. But in my head, I'm just like, yeah, cordial. Thank you very much, mate. Fuck glass, never mind. And he goes, all right, mate, whatever. Billy, and bear in mind, right, this guy's like 50 years old, maybe 55, something like that. So he's definitely seen that movie. And I can only imagine what's going through his mind. Kills me every time. I think it's fucking hilarious. So, yeah, is that story worth telling? I think it's worth telling. Because it was 25 minutes, half an hour of serious conversation, something like that. It was so serious. And at the end, I just wanted to shake his hand and be like, see you later, mate. Never, thank you very much. But instead of that, he puts his hand on the glass. Mate, I'll miss you. It's like, what the fuck? This guy is lonely. I thought I had a bad fucking time. This guy... That is about a week old, that story thing. I'm glad I made you laugh. Oh man. I'm Give me a second, I need to take a breath myself. No. It's all gone. I have one super joint left. Just one. But I need to prepare it. It's almost rolled, but I need to make oils, resin, and I need to get it on a paper. So I need to do that before I can make my next one. That'll be a nice interesting thing to do for about 40 minutes. Here's what you do, right? If you've got a grinder with like with a crystal catcher, or like the grid that separates the weed from like the dust that falls off. I don't know how you explain it, but whatever. Collect that stuff. Then collect it in a paper or in a rolling paper or something. Fold it over and press it down to make it like compact. And keep folding it until it gets as small and as compact as possible. Then what you should do is get yourself a pair of hair straighteners. Just a pair of normal, usual hair straighteners. 200 degrees-ish. How much of that stuff do you smoke, man? I only bought five quid's worth. It's not much. 3 grams of it I can push for 2 days. You know, gram and a half a day. That's nice. That's nice. But half a gram. That's what I've got now. Half a gram. Anyway, what you should do is get that, heat it up to about 200 degrees. 210, 220 is too much. Okay, 180 is not enough. 200 I've found is about the right temperature. Get it to 200 degrees. Then take this chunk, and what you want to do, and take a piece of it too. If it's, you'll learn as you do this. But what you got to do is put it between 2 papers, and then with the heated press, just press this thing down on the paper. The heat and the pressure squeezes all the oils out, and it forces it into a resin, and it forces all the oils out onto the paper. And then what you can do is you can peel it all apart and peel it off. As you take it apart, what you want to do is use the hair straighteners to keep warming up the stuff, so you can straighten out the paper without ripping it, because it can get sticky cold fast, real fast. And then after you separate it, you want to take the resin off. It's a fantastic little treat. If you can't afford decent amounts of weed, this is a fantastic treat for yourself. Sort one of those out for a night time. Think of it like 2 shots of whiskey turning into a bottle for nothing. Something like that, you know, or like a half a shot of whiskey turning into 2 or 3 shots just from it. How'd you come up with that method? Science, bitch. Yeah, science. That's pretty much it. It's pretty much just, sorry mate, I just understood that you could do it. That's all. I just understood you could do it. I don't know how to explain it. And it's obvious, if you think about it, you know it can be done, but you'd think industrial and large and huge. Then when you're like me with like super long hair and you've had friends and people around with hair straighteners, you kind of think to yourself, huh, a small chunk on a single paper. Huh, that's wonderful. Huh, there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But you don't. You want to do it for like 2 seconds a second, not long. You want to do it till it flattens and then stop, because then you'll start burning everything. Would you recommend smoking grass? I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend, but if someone was to smoke grass, I would suggest small amounts first. Small amounts first. Something weak, something not worth considering, you know, a problem. Because there's people like me who've been smoking for such a long time. You could give me the strongest stuff and I will smoke it all. I'll feel shit. I'll have the bad experience. But I'll accept it. Someone who's new to it will panic. They'll freak out. Nah, not me. I'll just feel shit for a while. You know, does that make sense? But I've been a sitter in many different cases. And for weed, what I'll do is I'll bring someone, let's say, a bottle of water, something that they like to eat, something like a snack. And I'll put the snack aside. I'll hard the snack. I like harding the snack. And we'll put on a TV show, a movie, something they enjoy watching. Anything they enjoy watching. Doesn't matter what it is, a horror film, a cartoon, anything. And I'll sit there with them. I won't smoke. Even though I really do like smoking, I'll let them get stoned, separate to me. And I'll be like, look mate, I'm going to be straight. If anything happens to you, I'm going to be completely aware. And they're like, yeah, okay then. Alright, that makes sense. Take 1 drag. A single drag? Yes, 1 drag. Okay, what now? Put it down. What now? What do I do now? I'm new to this. What do I do now? You wait. You wait about 10 minutes. And then you start noticing the effects. Immediately, you'll start noticing the effects. You'll wiggle out a bit and you're like, oh, okay. So, right, if you smoke again, this is going to double. And if you smoke again, obviously the more you smoke, the less it's going to really impact you. You know, you can smoke so much and then at some point it's going to peter out. It's the, what is it, the law of gains, the law of returns, failed returns, something like that. But I'd say take a drag, wait 10 minutes. Take another drag, just the one, wait 10 minutes, smoke the joint like that. Every 10 minutes, just 1 drag every 10 minutes. I did this with my mum. Right? She likes smoking resin. She likes smoking, you know, the black chunks, what you got to warm up and then you got to crumble it with your fingers. She likes smoking that stuff. And I took her a beautifully strong joint of weed. Well, I didn't take it to her. I took it and I was there. And I was sat there next to her smoking this weed. She goes, wow, that smells nice. I was like, yeah. Smoke's nice too. And she's like, really? And I was like, can I have some? I was like, if you do, man, I know you haven't smoked in a while, and I know you're feeling crappy at the moment, so what you should do, listen to me, take a drag. Just one drag, and I promise you'll feel it, and you'll be good for a while. Okay, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, cool. There you go. Hey. I was like, man, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And she sits there and she goes, that was a drag. I was like, no. What? I said one. You took like 5, 6. What the fuck are you doing? You're mental. You're going to be so stoned. And she was like, nah, what? I can handle it. Dude, 10 minutes later, right, where we were sat in the bedroom and she was on a bed. And where there's a computer next to her bed, she's playing like games on like the computer. And she's just sat there leaning up. And then she just looks at me and she goes, I need to get out of here. Oh God, this room is so small. And I went, I told you not to smoke so much. Go to the living room. I'll sort the computer out. Fuck off. This saves you right. I'm not going to help you. Go on. Off you go. And she goes off to the living room, lays down. She goes to sleep for 9 hours. 9 hours, bang, out, poof, gone. I had to lock the door and walk out. She was fucked. Fucked. All because she didn't listen to me. And I went, one drag. There you go. One drag. Okay. Because even I wasn't smoking it like that. I was, all right, nice one. I'd take a drag and wait about 45 seconds or so. I wouldn't do it that fucking quick. I'm not mental. Taught my mum a lesson. But it just goes to prove that she never listens to me when she needs to. Which is a problem. But nah, serves her right. And it was only weed. But no, I wouldn't do that to someone deliberately. I'm not like Joey Diaz, man. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, there's a 10 milligram. So, that's not 10 milligrams, mate. I know it's 100. And he just fucking laughs at you. Fuck you for giving me 100 milligrams. No. That's some... Yeah, that's the way you've got to start. It's the same with alcohol. The fuck? Someone's never drank in their life. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Give them a bottle of tequila and say, here, drink that until you can't drink no more? No. No. You're going to go to a pub and you're going to buy 2 pints, maybe a half a pint, and you're going to set it in front of them and say, right, drink that. Tell me how you feel in 40 minutes. Okay. And they'll drink it and they'll feel like shit in 40 minutes. Then they'll want to pee and they'll know they're drunk and it'll happen. And then they'll wonder how drunk they can get. But they've got to stop before they ruin themselves too fast. It's the same rule for everything. I don't think it's just for weed, it's for everything. I guess it's common knowledge or common... It should be common, and it's not. It seems to be. It's like people take a lot of things for granted. I mean, heroin overdoses. That only happens because a lot of people don't know what they're fucking doing. They're like, wow, that hit was nice. Then the next one, it's not as good. So they'll go overboard, then the next thing you know, the new heroin user is overdosed. And he's only overdosed because he's just a new heroin up. How many have survived and said, yeah, I never overdid it. I just did it until I just didn't want to do it no more. That's because they did it smart. They knew and understood that it was not something you just did more of. Never mind. Never mind. That's just me talking. I should really stop talking so much. But yeah, I've got more of those random fucking stories. I've got a ton of them. There's a scar. There's 2 scars on my arm right here. There's one right there at the tip of my finger, and there's one right there at the tip of my finger. It's a pair of nails that went through my arm. That one's a fun story. It includes a wonderful description of John Thomas. One hell of a stature, I'm telling you that much. Hey. But even then, I wouldn't. Again, for beginners of weed, for instance, don't go for the edibles. Do not go for the edibles. I'm a heavy user, kind of. I can be a heavy user, not as of recently, but I can be. Even edibles can be too much. You've got to be careful with them. You have to be very, very careful with them. You can't just take an edible and then just expect it to be okay, because you don't know when it's going to hit. Here's a story for you. One of my friends was quite supplied with cannabis, and he ended up making a load of butter out of it. He ended up putting a load of it in a pan and boiling it with butter and stuff like that and separating it. I didn't even consider getting any edibles. Yeah, try not to, mate. Try not to. There's no point. Because I don't think you're in it to do drugs. I don't think anybody is curious about it to do drugs. Not weed, anyway. If you're curious about it to do drugs, then you're going to be doing stuff like ease or fucking meth or coke. You're not going to go for fucking weed if you're into drugs. Does that make sense? It's the same with mushrooms. You're not doing mushrooms if you're into drugs. You're just into the mushrooms. Anyhow. And he made these cookies. And these were nice cookies too. They were about that fat. They were fucking huge. They were about that fat. And there was about that big. I know there was bigger than the palm of my hand. But there was about that big and about that fat at the same time. They were huge. And he says to me, he gives me half of one. And he says, right, if you're going to eat any, eat a quarter and no more. I was like, a quarter and no more? Why? He's like, quarter seems like too much. Too much? He's like, yeah, I need to put less in the recipe. Okay, alright, let's see how this goes. So I go home. Actually, I'm at his place. And it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I eat a bite of the cookie. Just a bite of the cookie. Not a quarter or a half of a quarter. Nothing like that yet. And I go home. I still can't feel anything. It's been about an hour. It's about 5:30, nearly 6. And I'm like, okay. So I eat the rest of the quarter. Just the rest of the quarter. And no more. Gone. Just gone. Now, else to do apart from play games or watch movies or whatever it is I was doing. I can't really remember. You'll see why in a minute. Because I was rolling joints and I was smoking as well, because I couldn't really feel the effects of the cookie. And I'm like, who knows when it's getting through? And I'm like, alright. And then I put my joint down, and it got to about 10 o'clock-ish. And then I started noticing my screen was doing weird things. I noticed my screen. I noticed it was doing like a weird wobble. And it was just kind of pulsing, just a little bit. It was almost as if I was doing this. It was like I was doing that, but I wasn't. And that's the level of movement I was seeing, but I wasn't moving because I was laid back perfectly still in my chair. And there's no way I could have been rocking without totally noticing. Not like that anyway. And then I noticed, I'm like, oh wow, I took a breath. Oof. It's about 10:30 now, 11 o'clock. Wow. I started noticing I was getting very, very hot. And I'm like, alright, here comes the cookie. Here comes the cookie. Oof, here we go. Oh, wow, I could feel it getting worse and worse every second. Every second. Every movement was getting worse. If I tried moving forward, it felt like I'd moved for light years. It felt like I'd been moving so slow. But I haven't, because everything around me was moving slow. Not actually slowly, just from my memory of it. Probably not actually slowly, just the memory of it. Got to be clear about that. Because when you are in those moments, like when you're drunk, you don't think things are moving differently. You only remember them differently. Make sense? Never mind. And I go outside. We've got a little balcony, and I sit on the balcony on the bench, and I could hear the traffic from about 150, 200 feet away. I could hear a car going by. The fuck was that noise? And I took deep breaths of the cold air, and it was getting a little worse. And then I could hear the leaves of the trees in the distance rustling, and it sounded like someone got 1,000,000 plastic bags, shoved them in my ears, and just started rattling them around. I'm like, what is that noise? I could hear everything. I could hear things moving in the grass. From the memory, of course. I clearly couldn't. I was tripping. But everything was just extra. Just extra. And about 40 minutes later, it got to a peak and started coming down. And I knew at that moment, I'm thinking to myself, all right, edibles out for me, because that was really strong. And then about a week later, my mate goes, here, I've changed the recipe of this, you can have a cookie now. I was like, brilliant, I tried one of his cookies, didn't feel fuck all. I was like, yep, I am never going to chase whatever he put into that first cookie. I am never going to chase that. Because that was an impossible thing that he didn't know and I didn't know what I was going to get. We was both just testing something. And it blew my mind. And I could hear and see, well not see, but I could hear things that weren't really, not say there, but what's the word? Hypersensitive, I think, is the phrasing for it. So you've got to be careful with the edibles, because if that was my experience and I had no fucking clue what I was stepping into, I can only imagine what a beginner would be like, oh really? A 5 mg gummy? I have no clue what that is. So when you're stoned, your senses are basically on hyper mode. At that moment there was. But no, it depends. Being stoned is a state of mind. You can be... Depends on the weed as well. You can get different kinds of weed. You can get weed that just plays with your head a little bit and doesn't stop your body from having energy. There are weeds out there that can stop your body from having energy and keep your head alert. That's why you see a lot of people smoking loads of weed and just sitting in front of games like, because the bodies have gone, but the brains are on, they're focused. If you focus on something, in general, you're going to pay attention to it and get it done. I've noticed, for me, when I've been stoned learning things, it's been much more interesting. I have been much more engaged, more willing. Time doesn't seem to be a factor. It doesn't seem to be, oh, I can only do this for half an hour. It's like, no, I'm stoned now, and I'm doing this. Until I get bored of this, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep fucking going. There's nothing out there that's going to stop me. Like learning science and physics. There's a game called Kerbal Space Program, and I took a rocket engineering course when I was high just to learn how to get the trajectory right and learn how to do rocket propellant and like how to structure the... Instead of just watching tutorials, I learned how to do that shit. And I've forgotten I ain't played Kerbal Space in like 10 years. It's been a long time. But I learned the rocket formula, I learned the lifting formula, the different planets. I learned everything. Just because, why not? It's not like I needed to. It's not like I had to. I was just playing a game and I just decided to, oh, I want to learn that. Let's see how that goes. And I did. Just because I could. When I was in school, when I'd get stoned, I'd learn the things that I wanted to learn. I never learned anything that I didn't want to learn, just like you would when you're not high. Being high or stoned, it doesn't do much to you unless you want it to. You've got to let it take over. It's the same with every drug. Every drug out there, you have to let it take over. Your painkillers, your antibiotics, if you don't let it take over and you do things to fight against it, it's not going to do the same trick. It's like if you take painkillers and you constantly bug in the painkillers are never going to work because you're never going to let them take over. You're never going to, okay, let's just forget. You're never going to let your mentality ride it through. You need to let it take over. You can't just... There are drugs out there, of course, that can just take you, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about weed. It's just a bit of weed. But again, with the drags, this is why you do it every 10 minutes. So you can sit there and be like, right, 10 minutes, however long this takes. You can let it take over. That's why I don't like explaining it in these fashions, because it just sounds wrong. It does sound wrong. This is why I said, just give it 10 minutes and see how you feel. Because there's people out there who feel it and go, oh, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay, stay away from it. You learned now. You've learned your lesson. It's the same with alcohol. There's a lot of people out there who say to themselves, oh, cool. Yeah, I don't like being drunk because I get violent, I get bitchy, my attitude comes out, I become arrogant. Oh, okay, so you don't like drinking? It's like, yeah. I don't like being stoned because it makes me paranoid. I don't like being stoned because I'm always feeling things on my skin. Or I don't like being stoned because my eyes get itchy. Whatever it is, people come up with an excuse to just not. Just be honest, I don't like it. Just be honest. And that's it. But it's not when you're stoned, your senses are on hyper mode. That was just for that moment of my memory. That has nothing to do with what I was really experiencing. If you was watching me in that moment, you might not have even noticed. I don't know. I can't remember. All I remember is the memory of it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. There was a time. There was a time I did get so stoned I fell backwards and I. This one time I got really, really smashed, and I was sat there, and then my mouth moved. I went, "Oh, I've got the munchies." So I got up like an animal. I was like, "Oh, munchies!" Yeah. I went to the kitchen. I just got the bread out, slammed it onto the toaster, put it in. I was like, toast, on. Then the toast came out and I buttered it and I was excited. And then for about 20 minutes, I was chewing and spitting bread out, figuring out why I have forgotten how to swallow food. I could not swallow food to save my life. I couldn't eat the toast. I couldn't eat anything. I tried eating, and every time I did and I wanted to swallow it, I'd choke myself and it wouldn't happen. But get this, I could drink like liquids and soups and stuff, so I could get like a drink and yeah, I can drink that, that's fine. But then you put food in there and my mouth and my muscles had no fucking clue what to do. None. I was so smart, and for about 20 minutes I was clueless. And then it hit and I'm swallowing going, I figured it out. Nice one. I can swallow again. And I just figured out how to swallow it. Something happened. I got so stoned, my brain forgot how to do a thing. That's just it. You've got to be careful. You can't just take this stuff for granted. Again, the experience lets you be aware of the downsides, the possible faults, the maybe mistakes. These are small things though. Some people go psychotic. Some people become insane. But they're for people that are overdosing for no real reason. You know, like a load of gummy bears, a load of weed at the same time, a load of oils. It's like, what are you doing? You're going to send yourself fucking loopy. It doesn't happen overnight. We're talking about heavy users who do it a lot, very quickly. That's all. We're not talking about someone who smokes it once and goes crazy and jumps off a building. It's not acid, for crying out loud. But that being said, I would say that these experiences and... for me, were funny. There weren't warning signs, there weren't problems. Because the warning sign for me would lose dexterity. The warning sign for me would be memory loss. The warning sign for me would be linguistical struggles. That would make me aware that, okay, maybe I need to straighten up a little bit. But until then, everything is in working order. Everything is working fine. You know, so I'm good with where I am. I'm not abusing anything. I'm not taking anything too far. I'm not losing my life because I wanted something more than something else. It's not happening like that. You know, it's either I've got it or I've not. That's just it. I've got it or I've not. And at the moment, I've got it. Like I said, half a fucking gram, mate. Half a gram. I can't really say it's a lot. I'd say you could smoke half a gram in an hour and be okay in about 6. Easily. But if you are going to smoke, do it for a night time when you can be aware that there's nothing going on. Just save it for a time when you've got nothing going on. Don't do it when you wake up. Don't do it when you get home from work. Don't do it just as you've eaten. No, wait till about 8 o'clock, something like that, and then say to yourself, right, this is about the time you would sit in front of a log fire with a glass of brandy, and you'd be sitting there. All right, this is the time you'd be sitting there and having this, then by 10 o'clock you'd be in bed. So why not do the same thing for weed? Sit there by the log fire with a joint and just be like, right, in a few hours, I'm off to bed. And then just treat it in the same vein as that. Don't get home from work and be like, oh, I'm home from work. Oh, that feels better. No, it doesn't feel better. It doesn't. The procrastination you're feeling from it, you should procrastinate from using it. Like I say, my last joint, I could have made that by now. I could have been smoking it by now, but I'm not. Not because I'm high enough, not because I'm happy with where I am, not because I don't want it, but because later on, future me will be very grateful that it's right there. So right now, I don't need it. I don't have any stress, no problems, nothing to even out. I have no issues. right now. So I'm going to sit here and think to myself, right, in the future, there is a beautiful smoke sitting there for me, just like you would with a nice glass of brandy. Like, right, 8 o'clock, I've got a lovely glass of brandy, got nice ice. It's going to be great. I'm going to have myself a great time. Have a nice radio on, listen to a couple of stories, and just toddle off to bed. It sounds beautiful, it sounds nice, because it is and it can be. It's just not as prim and proper as people expect it to be. It's this extravagant lifestyle people think that you need to have to be happy. It's very minimalistic. What you want, when I describe that scenario, what you're feeling is warmth, comfort, and satisfaction. That's it. If you're sitting at home and you can feel that as you're about to take that first sip of brandy or that first smoke of a joint, and you've got that warmth and satisfaction and that comfort, the chair you're in, the air that you've got, and you're like, you know what? I've had a good day. And then just relax. Then in 10 minutes you will feel even better. Yeah, I get you, smoking needs to be a kind of a special thing. Weed, in my opinion, is a special thing. People don't appreciate weed as the beautiful thing it really is. If you would do it 3 or more times a day, it would destroy the special thing. It would be just routine. Well, now you're forgetting the everyday life stuff, the everyday shit, the bad interactions with friends or neighbours or workers or shop assistant, those bad things there, the fact that you've lost money, or the fact that you can't pay for something, your electricity is about to go out and you can't afford to pay the bill, or your hot water's gone and you're like, for fuck's sake, you know what, just a joint, give me 20 minutes and I'll be fine. Right, there's no hot water, and it just gives you time to think. It's just an excuse to think. So don't think of it as a routine. Think of it as, it should be special, but people have taken it like alcohol. They've started using it so much it's become a burden on themselves. It's not become a burden on the people watching them do the thing. It's become a burden on themselves. Does that make sense? Because what I'm trying to get at is, they have allowed themselves to be captured by the fantasy that this thing might save them for a moment. Even if for a second there's a hand telling you, I've got you, don't worry, come with me. If for a second you've got that, you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to smoke a cig. Because when I'm stressed, joint or no joint, if someone's got a cig, I'm having a cig. And I don't smoke cigs. But that's a hand, and it's like, you know what? Here it comes. And I know what it is, but I don't like it. But I know what it is, and I go for it because it makes me happy for a second. Now imagine that for an alcoholic who's only known happiness when he'd had a drink. So when life gets him down and his wife leaves, or his kids tell him he's a disappointment, leave me alone. And he's trying to drink to find that happy place when he was drunk before. And it's not happening. That's why it's sad. That's why it feels bad. I would love everybody to be financially secure, comfortable and warm. So when they get home, they can sit there in their couch, on their chair, in front of their TV or book or whatever, and just sit, you know what? I'm warm, comfortable, and I've got nothing for 2 hours. Here we go. And that's all I want. That is all I want. But that ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen because there's always going to be financial turmoil. So that ideal is out the window. That routine, that's because you never know when it's coming back. That routine is because tomorrow it might never be there. Literally. It's not just maybe it might not be there hypothetically. It might not be there literally. Tomorrow, anything might happen where it's gone. Can you imagine prohibition again for alcohol and just like, no more alcohol, it's all gone out of the country? What are you going to do? What is everybody going to do? Even me. Anybody who don't drink, what are we going to do? Anyone who don't like alcohol is like, you know what? This is wrong. This is wrong. Let's start selling alcohol. What are you going to do then? You know, that's my point. Is that saviour, that daily driver is what's going to make people happy for just a minute. If your worker is having a shit day and he wants 40 minutes to himself to have a joint and then just sit outside before he goes back to work, and he says to you, look, I've had a shit day, I really want to do my work proper, but I need 40 minutes to myself, can I just go and have a joint, call it my break, and I'll just do work all day? Not a problem, mate. Go on, Jeff, off you go. And he goes, and he comes back half an hour later because he thinks time's moving faster than it is. And he's like, here it is then, let me come back. Mate, you've still got 10 minutes to go. He's like, I need a drink, I've got dry mouth, I need food. And then in 10 minutes he's done and he goes back to his desk and he does his job. Would you prefer a worker that did that? Or would you prefer a worker that was at work stressing and waiting for that clock to reach time so he can go home and have another fix? Would you prefer he just did that for 20 minutes, half an hour, and was like, you know what, you've had your day now, please do this? That'd be a lot better. That would be so much better. There are people out there in the world who are doing mushroom micro doses, whatever you want to call it, just small amounts of mushroom stuff, and psilocybin, and they're calling it microdosing. And these people are doing work like that, saying, oh yeah, I'm much more productive, I'm thinking faster, I'm doing things quicker, I'm more precise, I've got this, that and the other. Yeah, but what are you sacrificing for that? Because you're basically turning your computer to overclock. All that energy's got to go somewhere. What's it doing? What is happening right there? Now with weed, all that does is allow the information to pass faster. It doesn't actually encourage it to, it just allows it. It's like, oh, okay, you should think of it as a bunch of pipes expanding and be like, I can now allow capacity, let it through. And now imagine that with weed, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to use this pipe, I want to use this pipe. But with mushrooms, it seems that all the pipes are used extra, and it's causing problems, I think. Put that aside. Be careful with the mushrooms, the microdosing. But with the weed, in the moments, it's going to be more useful. Let's say you're writing a book, reading a book, watching a film. When you're stoned, you're going to notice things that you wouldn't usually notice, or you are going to notice them, or you're going to notice them in a different light, or you're going to follow a train of thought and it's going to send you in a different direction. I never thought about this before. Hang on a minute, that guy in the background, when he did this, that and the other. Let me just watch this. What are you watching? Are we watching the same film? Are we watching the... Just pay attention. Right, this guy is walking, and then the camera changes. Now he's wearing a different jacket. Is this the same scene? Because he's in the same position. What is this in the background? Then you go online, then you're going through a rabbit hole and you're learning all this new shit and you're typing. It turns out he's a CGI character. They've used him in a million different things. Who is this man? Sorry, mate, what? We was watching a film. You've done what now? I've learned how to do filmography. I've learned how, all because of this man right there. It's like, who is he? He's a CGI character. Okay. What else? That. Imagine that, but that's what you can do. That's what it can do. It can lead you down a train of thought. And once you go down it, it's going to be very difficult to come back. Because you're going to think to yourself, wow, I really spent a long time looking at these different things. I spent a long time learning about something I never needed to learn. Why did I do that? I don't even know I wanted to do that. Why did I want to do that? Why do I know that stuff? There are things in my head, Martin. There are things up here that I have no clue why I know them. No clue whatsoever. You ask me a thing and I'll be like, yeah, I've got answers for it. Maybe a response, something. But I don't have a real solid line for what you're talking about. But if you talk about something, I'm probably there with you to some degree. Whether it's maths, science, mythology, geography, whatever. I'm probably going to know something along those lines to keep a conversation going. As you can tell, I can talk for a while. And I want a drink. That's what I want. I want a drink. That's These bloody bubbles, man. These fizzy drinks are killing me. Don't like them. How long have I been streaming for? An hour and a bit. An hour and 15 something. Well, this conversation was surprisingly educational. I know, right? You see what I mean? You just the way things just go. The train of thought just leads down a path, and then it just goes. All the other junctions don't matter. You're like, go down here. What about there? Fuck that. I'm doing this. What about this? Fuck that. I'm doing this. This is my target. I'm doing a thing. Now think that. That's kind of how it goes. In my opinion, from experience, all that other cover my ass bullshit. But if anything, I would encourage you to do anything, everything in small amounts. Moderation is key. Do it once a weekend. If you're going to do it regularly, do it on the weekend. Especially if you don't want to use it as a crutch. But when you do find yourself doing that, don't disparage yourself and don't feel bad. Realise that it's clearly a useful thing that you found useful, and the government have pushed it aside to stop people using it in a more responsible manner. That's the point. Because if people are using it in a responsible manner, it can be regulated, it can be followed, it can be made reasonable, it can be understandable. When I buy weed in my country, in England, I have to get it from what we call the underground or the black market. And when I go to these places, do I know what I'm getting? Do I know when it was grown, how it was grown, how long it took, when it was cropped? How long's it been inside this packaging? Has it been moulding? Is it been mixed with a male plant? Has it got seeds in it? What's going on with this? I don't know any of that. When I buy it, please let it be fucking good. Please let it be fucking good. But it's never good. It's never good. It's always acceptable, but it's never... Every now and then, if I'm feeling flush with money, I will go to people that I know that can get American weed, and they bring it to me. And that American shit is fucking mwah, love it. It's fucking delicious. It smokes beautiful. It tastes beautiful. It's very well packaged. It's dry. Unlike the weed here that is not dry. If you buy a gram of weed, by the time you've dried it, you're going to get 0.8, which is a problem, which means you're getting less than what you've paid for. And if you buy a 3.5, which is 25 quid or about $30, if you buy $30 worth, by the time it dries out, it's worth about $20. That's how much it dries. It's a problem, man. Here, anyway. When I joined today's stream, I didn't expect that you would change my mind about boofs. Boof. Oh, you did write boof. Sorry, I didn't expect the word boof there. I don't know if my eyes are playing on me. But yeah, it's obviously I am an advocate. That's slang for weed. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Hang on a minute. I thought a boof was having a dude blow alcohol into your bumhole. I thought that was being boofed. Never mind. The word is in my head for some reason. Ignore me. Remember what I said about me knowing random shit? Don't ask. Anyhow. I don't want to change your mind. I want to open you up to possibilities of understanding in a different way. But I don't want to change your mind. I have the same idea for religions around the world. I despise them and I hate the religions, but I don't want to disparage the religious. I don't want them to feel like I'm attacking them personally. It's the idea that I'm after. But yeah, I was right about the booth thing. I was right about the booth thing. You see it in my head and all that shit. Never mind. Anyhow. And when I am having these conversations, I never want to change your mind. But please, whatever you do, understand that there are different ways to perceive and rationalize these sectors of reality. Because let's face it, there are people out there that are addicted just because it's weed, not because it's addictive. Weed is non-addictive. Weed is non-addictive. Okay? If you have an addictive personality, you are likely to carry on. It is you. But when weed isn't around, you will not be tempted. You're not going to go seek it out. You know what I mean? You're not addicted. Does that make sense? So it's non-addictive. Non-addictive. It doesn't do this. You cannot. It is impossible to overdose. So even if you did take too much, you're never going to die. You're never going to have a heart attack. You're never going to, injure yourself. Don't worry. When I was in about 2002, about 2004. In about 2004 on MySpace, I was on this thing and I was looking around, and I found this survey. Sorry, not a survey. A statistical analysis from the national. It was a governmental thing on weed, and it turns out to kill a human being, the lethal dose of pure weed, the lethal dose would have to be a consumption of 15,000 spliffs within 10 minutes. So if you can get 15,000 spliffs of joints and just concentrate all that smoke, all of it, and then just pop it in your mouth and, breathe it into your lungs, that might overdose you. Might. Might. And then the metabolism of the human body won't allow it to do as much as it wants to do, so the metabolism will push it out anyway, so you can't overdose no matter what you do. So if you ever feel panicky and shitty on weed, don't worry about it. You're not going to die. It's impossible. It's the funniest thing on the planet. People have said that it's deadly. It's not. It's not deadly. What's deadly is, let's say you're trying to eat food and a chip goes down sideways and it slices your esophagus open, and then you start bleeding acid all into your body and it just kills you from the inside. I'm sorry if I missed it, but where can you even buy cannabis? If you are in America, I don't know where you are, Martin, but if you're in America, you can get certain states and certain places have legalised weed for sure. And you can go there with either a medical card or some places it's legal completely. And you can go to a shop and buy weed there. But I don't think it's legal to take it over any state lines to any other state, regardless of laws that prohibit or allow cannabis. Eastern Europe. Found a guy with a turban sitting down an alleyway on a chair alone. And be like, hey mate, you got any drugs? And then when he says yeah, I go, alright mate, I want some drugs, but I'm not going to blow you. I'm going to give you a tenner. There you go, give me some drugs. And then when he gives you drugs, walk away. And whatever you do, go to the nearest police officer and say, copper, I've bought drugs from that man there. And when you do that, run. Run to a different country. Because you're probably going to get into a lot of trouble. No, don't do that. It's a silly idea. It's a silly idea. If you're not in the drug circle, mate, I can't help you. I can't help you. Because doing so would be irresponsible, and it would be very negligent of me to do so to you. So don't go looking for weed. Don't go asking strangers. Don't do anything. Don't at all. What if... Martin, how old are you? Please answer that question, and when you're in Eastern Europe, can you please tell me where you are in Eastern Europe? Just a country will do. 23. Oh, fucking hell, you're much younger than I expected. I'm going to guess Ukraine or Russia, one of the two. Because a lot of people from Russia say Eastern Europe, and they just don't say much else. Don't worry about it. I'm not one of those. Don't worry about it. But I expect the answer may be Russia. Don't worry about it. You're not the president. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm in England, for fuck's sake. Anything going on with you, not to do with me. But anyhow, what you should do, if you're truly interested, I will help you. Are you a social person, Martin? Are you capable of talking to a stranger? I'm going to let you guess. It's next to Poland and the Czech Republic. Oh, dude, I'm not that good at geography. What the fuck? Do I look like Google Maps? Next to Poland and Czech Republic. Well, if it's Czech Republic, I'm expecting Russia. I do think Russia. Yeah, I thought Russia. Ooh, maybe there's a delay. Ooh. Maybe you've caught a delay. Never mind. Anyhow. I think you should. Slovakia. Oh, okay. Slovakia. I forgot that was a place. I was about to say Sweden when I read that. And then I noticed it said Slovakia. So it's Slovakia. Of course. Because I'm good with words. What you should do is be social with other people, but what you should do is go to a pub, a bar, something like that, and just hang with people. Just hang with people and hang with friends. We are a very forgettable country. Well, dude, I'm English. I don't need to give a fuck. You have to learn English to communicate with me. I don't have to learn Slovakian. I don't have to learn that. I don't even know what kind of language that might be. Is it Grecian? Is it Germanic? Is it Arabic? Is it Indonesian? What kind of language? I have no fucking clue. None. I am such an idiot. It's Slavic. See what I mean? I don't need to learn that. I don't need to learn that. You need to learn that to talk with me. It's the English way. Sorry. But it's true though. It's true. It's the English way. We are very ignorant. We're a very ignorant dominating country. For a very small island, we're a very arrogant dominating country. Which is a problem. And I want to get off of it. Anyhow, by the way, thank you for learning English to this degree. You're very, very fucking good. Especially if you can communicate with me, of all people. I have... Oh yeah, my advice. Go to a pub, go to a club, go to a bar, something like that. Go with friends. Go there on your own and meet people. And just hang around with them. And just sit there, buy a drink, and just start talking to someone like you'd talk to me or any other stranger, and just talk to them about stuff in the bar, in the pub, in the club that happened that night, that you saw something. Did you see that guy get arrested 10 minutes ago? No, cops were just being in here. Really? Lie about it, but fucking tell them. You know, whatever. Don't really make a difference. Then what you should do is offer to go outside for a smoke if you're already a smoker. I expect you might be. And go outside and smoke with them. And go, it's a fucking shame I can't get any weed around here. And then just casually mention it. And go, can't get any weed either. I guess we're fucked, aren't we? Never mind. Then you put it down, put a joint. Hey, can I get you a drink? And then offer to go inside. Start talking to them a little bit more. Then maybe this person will be like, I can actually get weed. Just give me a second. He's coming, I'll be here in 10 minutes. How much did you want? So, I wanted, I don't know how much I wanted. How much is he bringing? Don't ask questions like that. Don't ask questions like that. Say something small, say something simple. Well, I don't think I would find that kind of person because I live in a village. Pretend you're the village idiot. Just walk around with a weed badge on your head. You've seen those idiots in America and in England walking around with weed plastered all over them. On the clothes, on the hats, on the socks, on everything else. Do that. Walk around like that. Someone somewhere will notice you and go, hey mate, you like weed? You're like, I do. Can you buy any? Can I get some? Please. But no. That's the only suggestion I've got is socialise and just lightly suggest. But never outright question it, and always plan ahead. Know what you can buy. So put in the location on, I guess Google this for yourself. You can Google this shit. Google for yourself the prices of weeds in your area. The amount you can get. Learn how to do that. We do it in grams and ounces. That's how we do it. So you can get a gram, 2 grams, or 3.5 grams. That is in a series among itself. And then you can get half ounces, quarter ounces, ounces, things like that. A full ounce is about £180-ish. £180, give or take. In our pubs, it's full of old people. Old people are wise, mate. Old people are wise. Go and ask an old person who's smoking. Talk to an old person. Socialise. Because old people not only feel appreciated when you speak to them, they appreciate even more when you respect them. So if you've got old people that stand outside smoking, I expect you've got it banned as well indoors. But if you've got old people outside smoking, join them and just start talking about the days, and then just as you're finishing a cig that you're smoking, just utter or mention the fact that you can't get any weed and it's depressing or it's sad or it's whatever it takes. Just mention, just on the passing, just go, can't get any fucking weed round here. It's a shame there's no one around here that can get me any weed. And that's it, just walk away. Walk away or offer to buy him a drink, just something. And it's the same service, it's the same respect, it's the same everything for everybody. Old people just appreciate it more. It's the same respect for everybody else. Those old peoples have lived during the socialist era, and I don't think they could get this stuff during that time. Really? During socialism? Are you secretly Putin and just having normal conversations? I'm kidding. Duh. I'm kidding. How long have I been here? An hour and a half. I've been here for a while. What was you expecting when you came here anyway, mate? I mean, oh no, he got me! I know, I'm sorry. When you clicked on my stream, mate, what was you thinking? I mean, you said you weren't expecting an education or anything. What was you expecting? Just more songs and dumb shit coming your way? Speaking of dumb shit, I have actually got some dumb shit to share. Just need to close that. These are not the right one. I expected you to be playing, yeah, guitar as always. I thought so. that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Oh no. Oh no. Where did I put them? Uh-oh. Man, when I joined it was daytime and now it's nighttime. Oh, it's only been an hour, mate. An hour and a half, something like that. It's not been that long. Has the sun really set for you, though? I mean, it's close to setting for me. I've got about another hour of maybe an hour and a half of light. That's how long we've been talking. Yeah, man. We can. I can do that. I talk a lot. I talk quite a bit. I do apologise about that. I can't find the thing I'd written. It's pure darkness outside. Yeah, it's more like a dark blue essence coming from the sky at the moment for me. Got about an hour before the sun's gone. It's cloudy though. Oh yeah, I turned it off, didn't I? I wanted to do another False Hope podcast. I wanted to get that done as well. But I'm glad I got. Oh yeah, I got my story out of the way, didn't I? I have a bunch more stories, by the way. I have quite a few. I have a good life lesson story for you. This one's kind of life affirming. Okay, what you got cooking? Well, for False Hope podcast, I don't want to spoil anything. But for the story, this is more of a uplifting one. I was struggling to get on a bus. I got onto a bus, gave the driver money, I was about 20p short. Oh no, I was completely short of money. I says to the driver, can you just take me down the road, mate? Just take me down the road and I'll just get off. And he's like, no mate, I can't do that. I can't let you on and just take you down the road. Not for free. He's like, come on man, you're not really wasting anything by doing that, please. You're wasting more fuel by just telling me no than you are just letting me on. And he's like, nah, can't do that. And this woman comes up from the bus and she goes, excuse me, yeah, here's his bus fare. Cheers, thanks love. Take my ticket, and I go sits down. She sits next to me, and I say to her, you're a lifesaver, thank you very much for this. How can I pay you back? And she puts her hand on my knee and she goes, look love, it has nothing to do with you paying me back. What you should do is pay it forward, because the next person needs to appreciate you. And I went, okay, alright, thank you. I will definitely pay it forward. From now on, everything I do, I'm going to pay it forward. So I did. And everything I've done from that point, I've just paid anything that someone's done for me. Cheers. Off I go. Why aren't you giving me anything back? Fuck you. I'm giving it to someone else. But yeah, she told me to pay it forward, and it got me. It got me. I couldn't be happier with an answer like that. I was like, yes. It was only a couple of quid, but it was definitely more poignant of a moment than it should have been. I was about to tell you a story about John Thomas. By the way, that's slang for cock, just so we're aware of that. And I was telling you about 2 scars on my arm, right? One there and one there. So it's like a holiday of some kind, middle of the week, and it's kind of warm. Must have been spring or summer or something. And my mum, I'm about 14, it's 2004, 2003, something like that. I'm about 14, and I go for a driving lesson. So my mum takes me out in the car, and we go to an abandoned parking area, and we start just driving around. She goes, right, get in the car, off you go. Really? Yeah. How do I do it? So she started teaching me how to drive. You know, clutch, accelerator, all the proper driving stuff. None of that automatic bullshit. None of that fucking crap. Complete. It was just one of those. It was great. I loved learning to drive like that. And as we're driving around, we're just getting about, and my mum notices there's this beautiful sports car at the end of this parking lot with a guy stood at his car just watching us. And then my mum, after about 20 minutes, she goes, there's a guy I don't know if you've noticed while you've been driving around, but there's a guy over there, and he's been watching you drive for a while. I was like, that guy there? So I drove up to him, and I stopped and she went, what are you doing? And I stopped, and I wound her window down. I was like, hey mate, am I driving well? You know, am I a good driver? And she had no clue what this conversation was going to turn into. I was like, am I a good driver, mate? And he goes, yeah, you're a decent driver. You stop well, you don't skid, you don't do anything. You do your clutch changes properly, you brake properly, you turn and indicate right. Thank you very much. And off I went. Stopped the conversation dead and just said thank you and fucked off. Then my mum started laughing. And then he started following me, you know, and then he started driving around the circuit on his own, you know, to be traffic, to become traffic, and he started playing. He'd basically playing a game of him being traffic. And after about an hour or so of us messing around, we all stopped, started talking, and I went, Mum, don't ask too many questions, Martin. And I went, Mum, can John drive us home? Are you sure? You want to get into this guy's car? I was like, it's a convertible. I mean, he's pulled the roof down and everything. You'll be able to feel the wind while you're driving. She's like, yeah, you can have the windows down. I was like, it's not the same. It's not the same, Mum. Let me in his car. All right, I'll follow, and you go where I tell you to. Brilliant, perfect. So she'd indicate ahead of time, and he'd indicate and follow where she's telling. And we came home, and he took us home. And while we're there, we've got 2 people living with us. We've got my brother and our family friend, basically a cousin. And I'm in the back garden, and we're all messing around. This John Thomas and my mum, they're sat in the living room just talking to each other, getting to know each other and whatnot. Clearly there was hooking up. Back then it wasn't obvious. Now, clear as a bell. Back then there was hooking up. And we're in the back garden, just messing around. And I says to my mum, I was like, hey, mum, check this out. I had been practicing how to jackass, and I was fucking stupid. And what happened is I got my mum to take a film camera we had. If anything happens, I'm not taking you to hospital. And she looks through the camera, and I look back on it. Right then, here we go. This is my jackass attempt. Number 1, I'm running through that fence. See, I'd been doing this all afternoon. And every time I ran into that fence, no matter what I did, every time I ran into that fence, it would boom and fire me backwards halfway across the garden. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I was like, we need this on tape. So I ran into it, and I ran at foot. Whoa, and it went through. The whole thing just went through, and I fell back, and there was 2 nails that came out. Because I've been doing it so often, it had wiggled out, and it had come out with the nails and everything attached. And as I fell down, my arm went straight into the nails, and I'm spurting blood. I'm stood up, and I'm bothered by this little scratch I've got on my back. There's a tiny little scratch back here, and I'm what's this? And as I'm doing that, and my arm sticks out, blood. What the fuck is going on? My back hurts. 3 people, John Thomas, my cousin, my brother, all went, dude, your arm. What? My fucking arm. I'll get you a towel. What do I do? What do I do? It just wouldn't stop. It just wouldn't stop bleeding. It was just pouring everywhere. What the fuck do I do? Went to the hospital. Was there for about 4 or 5 hours. Got back. All of them was still watching the replayed tape of me going through the fence. They were still watching it. They'd hooked it up to the TV. They had found the wires that we lost in the loft. We lost them a long time ago, and they found the wires, and they hooked it up to the telly and was like, there we go. It works. And they started playing it on this fucking 32-inch TV. It's like, this is so fucking... You ready? Jackass attempt number 1. Straight through. It was like, that's not good. And there was just John Thomas was doing this as well. Then the very next day, John Thomas vanished. He was gone by 5 o'clock. He had gone. Years later, my mum admitted, yeah, they hooked up. And he'd been on the run. This guy was a fugitive. This guy was on the run, and he stayed with us to hide from the police. Turns out one of the conversations they had while I was driving the car on my own, because they knew I could drive. So they had a conversation, and he's like, oh, look, I'm a fugitive. I need somewhere to stay. Is there any chance I can possibly stay with you? I can give you some money. I can make this worthwhile. So he gave her some cash, and she stayed. She says they didn't hook up, but come on. The name is John Thomas. If you only know him because of his dick, I am sorry, but that's why he stayed. That's why he stayed. That's the reason. But this guy, I can only imagine the stories he's got, and then on top of it, he's telling some of his kids or his grandkids at this point, and he's going, you know, back in the early 2000s, I caught this kid driving a car, and he was with his mum, and I convinced her to let me stay. It just spits out the same story. Then by about 8 o'clock, he came out of the loft, and he's got this wire, and he's just putting it in the TV. It's brilliant. So funny. Then this little kid watched him go through the fence like 1,000 times. Just that story alone, I would love something like that. I really would love something like that. You know, if he's telling my story for me. Another one. I got cocky with a BB gun. And as I got cocky with a BB gun, I decided to tell my cousin, this is gonna... Holy shit, what a story. I know, mate, it just goes, like, it just happens. It just happens. This one's a little more straightforward. And I'm telling my cousin, look, I've got this BB gun, and I've mastered it. I know exactly how this works. I've taken it apart, I've put it back together, I've done stuff with it. I says, what we're going to do with my friends in the neighbourhood, what we're going to do is we're going to tell them that you're going to shoot me in the eye, and I am so strong and powerful. This is in 2004, 2003, 2004. I was a dumb kid at that time. Most of my stories are 2004. So we'll just leave it there. I says to my, he's going to scare the shit out of the neighbour kids. I was like, what you're going to do is you're going to walk up to me with an empty BB gun, walk up to me, cock it and go, you! And then just shoot me in the eye. Just shoot me in the eye. Just point blank, right there. And I'm just going to stand there and take it. And she's like, why? And I was like, just cause it's a BB gun. There's nothing. So she does it, walks up to me, hey, you! You! And shoots me. This close from my fucking eye. This close. This is so fucking close. And she shoots me, and there's a BB in it. There's a fucking BB in the gun. What do? Straight in my eye. So I'm screaming. I'm in pain. I'm nuts. All the kids are wondering why the fuck she shot me. She has no clue how to explain it. She just blames me. Let's face it, it was her fault. And went to the hospital. Got seen. And I got a hair in my mouth. Ha! I had hair in my mouth. Got to the hospital. Got seen. And the doctor gave me an eye patch. And he sellotaped it down and whatnot. And as we're getting home, driving home, me and my mum, and I says to her, you know, we've got to tell my cousin, the girl who shot me, we've got to tell my cousin that because of her I've lost my eye. And my mum goes, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. I was like, why not? It'll be funny. She's like, no. I was like, no, we'll tell her. Just not right away. Just let her sit with it for a minute. Just a minute. And she's like, no, we can't do that. So we're walking the front door, and there she sees me, my cousin, and I went, the doctor had to take my eye out, and my mum just goes, shut up, smacks me, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, he's lying, his eye's fine, he's just got to wear the patch for a couple of days. Thanks, mum. That'd have been funny. That would have been funny, but no, not at all. So, imagine the turmoil I could have put my cousin through. I lost my eye. Doctor had to take it out because he... Shut up. Sorry, I do try. I've got more. I've got so many more stories. Depends how explicit you want to go as well. I've got a bunch of those. Consent, of course. Is that 2 hours now? It's 10 minutes till 2 hours. I'm thinking I can call the stream an end close to it. If I run all my stories now, man, I'm gonna run out of material for the future. And I want to extend a couple of these as well, like write them out, like fully flesh them out with like stupid details. Like the grass was so long, but it was all dry and it was a beautifully warm day. There was no clouds in the sky except this one cloud that was floating back. What do we need to know that? Yeah, I'm saving some for later already. I'll tell you about the time I fell off of a 30-foot roof. And I will tell you about the time I burnt 3 buildings down. And I will tell you about the time... I can keep going. I can keep going. These stories just get wicked and wacky. They really do. And by the way, the burning buildings wasn't my fault. That wasn't a decision I made. That was me following the lead of my older brother when I was 11 years old. So my older brother did that. Not me. I was just there. And doing it too. But still, my brother told me to do it. It's not like I was doing it and then my brother followed. It's the other way around. My brother did that. Not me. Abandoned buildings. I'll tell you about times we fucking travelled cross country. Me and my mate got lost out to sea. A girl, when I was about 12, 13, a girl invited me to hers for sex, and I ended up taking a 20-mile walk home that night, and by the time I got home the sun was coming up, because there was no buses. And, never mind, that story just gets so much more complicated. I'll stop there. See what I mean? It just keeps going. It just keeps going. There was a guy I knew. His name was Trevor, and he had this granddaughter called Corey. And she, when I was about 6 years old, she was about 6 as well. And she was the light of my life. And then that family moved away. And then when I was about 14, this guy recognised me and called me by name because he was a fucking bus driver of my school, and he noticed me. And as I was getting off the bus one day, He called me by name and went, "See you later." And I went, "How the fuck do you know my name?" And he told me, he was like, "Do you remember Corey?" I was like, "Corey? Like the kid who lives down that road?" He was like, "No, Corey, my granddaughter, Corey." I was like, "Trevor, what the fuck?" Everything just flooded back to me. I was like, "I know who you are." This guy knew who I was, and I had no fucking clue. For 8 years, this guy had never seen me, and he recognised me from 6 until 14. What the fuck? I am just trying to pad the time until the 2 hour mark. Unless there's anything on your mind. I mean, we could talk conspiracy. These are just true stories about me. We could talk conspiracies. We could talk about weird adventures. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons. However, I did play a version of it once. It took about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, to play this one little game where the story I tell about my character is over in about 2 seconds. Okay, not 2 seconds, maybe about a minute and a half. 2 minutes. That's how quick the story went for my character in those 3 hours. You know, because of the rolls and the probabilities and all that other shit those nerds do. And I did that. It was the Fallout universe. That's what it was based upon. And I loosely knew what was going on. And it says, basically carte blanche, you can do what you want in the world. Okay, so the place... sure, let's talk about conspiracies, but what cans? Exactly, what cans? And this guy says to me, "Right, roll your things. Here's what happened with my character. I spawned in the world, and I'm walking along, and I see a car, and I'm rolling all the time for these things. I'm going to ignore all the rolls. And then I get lucky in a boot, and I get some money. And then I get unlucky with language. Even though my character is charismatic, I made a lot of bad charismatic rolls. And then when I got to a building, I was being hunted down by like a machine, a robot, or a turret of some kind. And I made a move which was athletic, and my character was non-athletic but charismatic. And this thing made these acrobatic moves around the room, got the gun, ripped it off of its hinges, and used it, and saved people and did things. And then it stepped outside, my character stepped outside, saw some people robbing a car, and then got shot. That's how he died. That's how he died. We need to roll for probability of the shot being deadly. Oh, fuck, 20. Sorry, mate, you're out of the game. Thanks. I'll see you guys later. I'm never playing that game again, but I'm never going to put myself through Dungeons and Dragons again. That was so tedious and boring. Do you know how long it took to do the setup of that? Oh, fuck me. Any conspiracy is available, by the way. Anything and everything. From, I guess, mythical creatures like Bigfoot or Zeus or gods to conspiracies like governmental shit. Whatever it is that's in your head. That's why I never found the appeal. Yeah, same here, same here. D&D is shit. Don't get me wrong. If you have no drugs and no life and no time and nothing else to do, all you've got is D&D, best thing in the world. You're thinking about a million different things, you're just not actually good at them. Oh yeah, my character's a scientist, he builds rockets, and he's been to space like 4 times. And then my character's also really good at talking to people. My character could do this. And my character... What are you good at? Well, I burnt noodles last night. Yeah, fuck off, nerd. And that's what the problem with D&D is. It gives people a false perspective of where they are in the world. Sorry, I've got to shave. I have to shave at some point. It's all curling into my mouth. We've got 4 minutes and 40 seconds left for a conspiracy conversation. So let's say aliens. I'll very quickly go through this. Aliens are not on planet Earth. I got the fly. Aliens are not on planet Earth. They have not visited here personally. Whether or not we have found alien technology, up for debate. Whether or not alien technology has been here, up for debate. But aliens are not here. They cannot reach us, just like we can't reach them in lifetimes. Impossible. Alien conspiracy? No. Not in on it. I don't think there's greys. I don't think there's a secret cabal of aliens from another solar system or planet in the galaxy. I don't believe that. Especially with them coming here before we become technologically advanced to be found to be able to... Sorry, they're not going to do that. It's not happening. If they came here by chance and we was here, I don't find that a possibility either. However, I do think aliens are out there. I think the universe has aliens. I think the universe supports life whenever it can. I don't think it's there to support life. I just think tiny little pockets, like, think of it like a petri dish. You've got some like bacteria in there, and it's going to group up to one side, and then sometimes a piece of bacteria dies, and then a little piece survives. Where that little piece, most of the bacteria is going to die, and where the little piece that's just going to stay there, also self-sustaining, not too much, not too little, just right. And that tiny little bit of bacteria is what we are, is what planet Earth is doing. And then when it's gone, that bacteria is gone. The petri dish will be cleaned. But I don't think aliens have been here in our lifetime for us. Conspiracies for the government? I don't think they're conspiracies. I think they are mismanaged projects that have gotten out of hand. Like the MK Ultra thing, you know, struggling with drugs, struggling with all sorts of other stuff like that. I think the MK Ultra thing was a step in the right direction with the wrong reasons. Oh, can we get psychic powers? Can we see where the enemy's hiding? Can we get secret plans without actually going to the country and risking lives of spies? Can we do that? No. Can we stop the heart of a goat? No, you can't. Psychic powers don't exist. Oh, 2 minutes left. Alright. But I do think MK Ultra, if employed properly, could be very useful. Other conspiracies such as Bigfoot, I do not expect a large ape-like mammalian creature to exist anywhere near humanity and not be documented without proper documentation of when it's been faked. You know, like the Harry the Henderson, or like the guy who wore the Bigfoot outfit and took that original photo, or the guy who's been wearing an outfit and hiding out in Utah somewhere. You know, what about those? There's more documentation of fake ones than there is documentation of the real one. Look at the Tasmanian tiger. We don't have that anymore, but there's more documentation of the real thing than there is imitations and fake versions. So the real thing is obviously real. The Loch Ness Monster, there's more documentation of it being fake than there is documentation of it being real. And to me, that is telling me conspiracy untrue. Other conspiracies, such as the JFK thing, are pretty established now. But the JFK thing, the government did it. Sorry. It's clearly the government did it because the government was afraid of what JFK could do with his newfound power. Sorry, not sorry, he's dead now. Or maybe he was on the verge of doing something and they didn't want him to do it, so they took a very quick thing and just killed him and then bled the dude quickly and... yeah. And then they killed him with a fucking... the guy who killed him at the courtroom. What's the point? What's the point? Sorry. That's a conspiracy there. That's a group of people, a cabal of people who have designed and decided this whole death scenario. And then it just so happens that Lee Harvey Oswald, it just so happens that he is a good scapegoat. Oh, that's my 2 hour mark. That's my 2 hour mark. This has been me talking, I guess. I wasn't expecting to talk so much. I would play Batman Arkham Knight, but apparently my computer really fucking hates it when I'm streaming. It lets me play it as much as I want, But as soon as I'm streaming it, it crashes and turns itself off. It doesn't even shut the game down. It's really annoying. But I can't play that on stream at all, unfortunately. I've told a couple of stories. I've played some music. I did not save the Santana thing. Never mind. No, I think I'm done. Right, please, whatever you do, go check out my False Hope series, my videos on my channel. Go check that out. Go to SoundCloud. Go check out all of my 70 songs. Let me know what you think. And just Google my name and you'll find things where I am associated. Well, that stream was something. It's sad that you couldn't get Batman running again. I know it is. I know it is. Batman Arkham Knight, it looks nice as well. It looks nice. I like the game. But it's just not... It's not playing fair. But yeah, go check all that stuff out. Google me. You'll find stuff about me. I'm a nobody with a Google name. I am the only person with the hashtag False Hope. I am the only person with that. Nobody else in the planet has used it. If you ever type hashtag False Hope, it's me. Me. On Instagram, here, anywhere else. It's False Hope is me. I am False Hope. Do drugs.